Now, besides personal pronouns, there are two other groups of pronouns. Those known as relative pronouns and interrogative pronouns. Relative pronouns were named by my great-uncle Harry, genealogy syntax they called him, who thought it would be nice to have a few pronouns in the family. There was Uncle Which and Aunt What, and cousins Who and That, and a few more aunts and uncles we hardly ever saw, whoever and whom. But what wonderful relatives they were! Never forgot a birthday or an anniversary. Oh, goodness, no. Just joking, of course. The real grammatical reason for calling relative pronouns relative is because they relate to some other noun or pronoun in a sentence. When we say, the old man who helped him was strong, the relative pronoun who relates or refers back to the noun man. And speaking of relative pronouns, I must tell you about another and quite odd dream I had. It was about Marcus Aurelius Syntaxicus, that noble Roman responsible for the exhortation, "We who are about to die, salute you." The who in the exhortation refers directly back to the personal pronoun we. And now here's the strange part of the dream. Marcus was attacked by a lion, but in reality, it wasn't a lion at all. Anyway, the most commonly used relative pronouns are who, used for relating to persons, and which, what, and that, used for relating to things. It's important, of course, that you don't use the relatives that or which when you should be using the relative who. It's perfectly correct, for example, to say, the lion that attacked me was ferocious. Unless it's not a real lion, of course. But it isn't correct usage to say, the lion who attacked me was ferocious, because a lion isn't a person. At least I don't think it's a person, not normally anyway. So we have pronouns that are personal, pronouns that are relative, and pronouns that ask questions. The interrogative pronouns. And oh my, the questions those interrogative pronouns ask. Questions such as what and which, for example, and, what's the other? Oh, yes, and who. Back again, are you, eh? Well, I hope you've learned a few words besides who in the time you were gone. Nevermore. Nevermore, eh? Well, I don't see what that has to do with interrogative pronouns. Oh, goodness, no. You see, the principal interrogative pronouns are who, which, and what, with an occasional whom thrown in for good measure. Interrogatives may look like the first cousins, the relative pronouns, but don't let appearances fool you. Interrogative pronouns always ask questions, such as, "What did you do in the war, Daddy?" But relative pronouns always relate back to something or somebody else. So when Daddy answers, "Peel is what I did," the what is relative, because it refers back to Peel. So that's the story on interrogative pronouns, and good heavens, who wrote this? Nemesis? It's got to be Nemesis, still making the same old mistakes of number and gender with his relative pronouns. Nemesis, how many times do I have to tell you? Singular goes with singular, and plural goes with plural. Now get that ridiculous there out of there, and please put in the proper pronoun. All right, now, you're just being silly. Everyone knows you can't have a masculine his referring back to a feminine girl. So try it again, please. There, that's much better. I knew a girl, her name was Sally. A singular feminine her for a singular feminine girl. So you see what you can do when you put your mind to it, eh, my boy? Oh, yes, a remarkable young man. Almost as clever as that frog of his. Well, I suppose I've gone on long enough about pronouns. Don't want to be boring about them. Oh, my, no. Because that's why we use pronouns, you see. To keep language from being boring and repetitious. Remember, a pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun. It always refers to the same thing as the noun it replaces, to a person, place, or thing, or to an idea, quality, or feeling. The pronouns we use most often are a group known as personal pronouns. Personal pronouns stand in directly for persons, also for places and things, and are classified according to number and case. Relative pronouns, on the other hand, relate back to some other noun or pronoun in a sentence. Who, which, and what also belong to a class of pronouns known as interrogative pronouns. Interrogatives are the inquisitive members of the pronoun family, always asking questions. Like that owl there. Well, nevermore. Maybe you don't want any rest, but I want to get some sleep tonight. So would you mind knocking it off? All right, you win. If it's one thing I can't stand, it's somebody else talking when I'm not. Nevermore. Nevermore, nevermore. Nevermore.